This is the last of the series I'm going to be talking about on online behaviour for young people. And I want to talk a little bit about parental concerns about adolescents and tweens being bullied online. The reality is that cyberbullying is a very big reality for a startling number of young people and can lead to really devastating consequences. Anxiety, sleep deprivation, reduced or increased appetite, reduced school performance, low mood, and even suicidal thinking and gestures are all consequences of this extremely fast-growing trend. We all know that bullying is an age-old problem within child and teen culture. In fact, it's one of the most common causes of poor mental health in children and teens, and it can at times be super tricky to address. It's really important to know that bullying can be experienced quite differently for boys and girls, and to consider the many gross or subtle ways that it might be part of your young person's life. The images that the word bullying conjures up tends to be sort of more of a 90s Hollywood movie stereotype, that idea of kids being slammed against lockers or pushed in school hallways or having stones thrown at them as they walk home, or, on and on it goes. And yet it might be plausible. This image does get in the way of seeing the more subtle forms of bullying that may be taking place in our young people's lives. And it's now widely acknowledged that many instances of bullying are actually experienced on the relational level, and that this means that it's often hard to detect or to manage. Relational bullying is more typically experienced for girls than for boys, and it's in the form of whispering and the spreading of rumours and social exclusion. Unlike that stereotypical image of physical bullying, which targets non-mainstream kids or teens, relational bullying is often targeted at the children who, for all intents and purposes, fit in. They have friends, maybe even a tight-knit group, and they may seem well-liked. The ever-increasing use of communication technology has opened up a huge forum for young people and relational bullying. Making nasty comments on someone's Facebook or Instagram, or tweeting private or false information about someone, can lead to this huge snowballing effect of others doing the same. It's almost like this old-fashioned witch hunt. Relational aggression, whether it happens in person or in the digital sphere, is really distressing to young people who often lack the necessary communication skills to facilitate conflict resolution. And this kind of intellectually, dealt out cruelty is more common amongst our girls, but it still happens for boys. And when parents are faced with this kind of behaviour, it can be helpful to take a very compassionate view and to consider the cultural context in which our girls are often raised. Whereas our culture supports boys to accept and find healthy outlets for their aggression and anger, girls are less supported to channel these feelings in a productive way, and they're often expected to just not feel the way they're feeling. And it's not okay, of course. And so, just like I don't want to be damaging our boys with saying man up, okay? Often our girls are seen as being bitchy, whereas boys are seen as often boys being boys. And we've got to move away from all this stuff, because bullying's never okay. And it helps to remember that a great deal of bullying behaviour is the result of young people's lapses in judgment, their social and emotional intelligence, and just their sensitivity. Seemingly vicious behaviour can be the result of confusion, self-absorption, we know that's there for them, misunderstanding, and just being totally oblivious. So for young people, relational bullying can occur in the context of just complete oblivious to how others experience their comments and behaviour. So just as sticking up for ourselves and speaking our minds is a learned skill, so too is tact and empathy. So it's our job to patiently nurture these skills in our young people. So how do we do this? If we suspect some relational bullying, how do we support our adolescent? Well, we remember that silence and secrecy protect bullies. So we want to support young people to speak up. Adolescents feel supported when we're aware of what's happening in their life, and we want to encourage them and be okay with the fact they might not open up at first, but they might just start to tell you if you leave those lines of communication open. Model and expect respectful communication. I know I bang on about this. And offer a loving, connected, and intellectually stimulating home environment, because this will reduce our young people's need or tendency to be involved in bullying behaviour. We can monitor their screen activity and encourage them not to read negative messages and just delete them. If your young person feels compelled to read negative messages, encourage them to not respond to anything that feels intimidating. Above all, let them know that intimidating communication, whether online or offline, is not okay, and they deserve respect at all times in their life. Let your young person know that threatening someone online or offline, no matter what, is not okay. And sometimes I support parents to take this to the police. Address instances of inappropriate communication and support them to not be a bystander in cyberbullying or hurtful communication. It's not uncommon for our young people to hide bullying for a fear of further embarrassment and public shame through our involvement as parents. But I still think it's important that we figure out ways to support our young people to be okay when they're experiencing relational bullying. We want to support the development of our teens' emotional intelligence by talking to them about the broad range of feelings that can come up for us in friendships and romance, and the choices we can make in response to our feelings. Remember, many young people don't speak out and fail to alert us when they're being bullied. And if your adolescent seems upset or anxious or really flat, sleepless, fearful, withdrawn, or shows a significant change in their usual behaviour, it can be helpful to gently check in with them and ask them about what's going on. And if you're feeling at a loss as how to do this, there's loads of information out there, and I'd encourage you to have a look at my Taming Teens course online, my Taming Tech course, and for parents of tweens to even go back and look at the Foundations course, part 1 and part 2, along with the books that go along with these courses, as that will give you so much support in your parenting and knowing what to do to manage this really challenging topic. And when all else fails, speak up, go see your GP, or link in with a great psychologist who might know a thing or two about this. I wish you well.